Hello, welcome to Gabagool 8. My name is Wes Dawson, and I am ecstatic to have you here to close out 2020 alongside me. Now, as this is the final episode of Gabagool 8 for 2020, I want to take a minute to thank everybody who listened, liked, subscribed, did all those things I list at the end of every episode. Very much appreciated. If this is your first time listening to it, where the fuck have you been? This thing has been rocking the airwaves for months now. Did I just make myself sound like I'm 60 by saying airwaves? I don't know. I don't particularly care. Typically, people want to start the new year on a positive note. They set their goals for the year. They have their resolutions. They know how they're going to change themselves into being better people. Well, as we're coming off the heels of 2020 to start a new year, I want to do a bit of the opposite. I want to reflect on some of my failures. There aren't many. I can barely count them on one hand. But I think an 8-minute episode would be more than enough time to digest them. First and foremost is another podcast I had worked on before Gabagool 8 that was kind of catered to academia. It was really a higher brow function. It was really made to engage people on a cerebral level. The title, I don't quite have it yet. It's a work in progress, but it didn't quite come to fruition. And the person responsible for that, well, I hope you get nothing for Christmas. Gabagool Theater. I'll play you a short clip. It means the family's leaving. Though who could blame them? The way you smell. Now I'm guessing this is the cat, Sassy, because it's kind of sassy dialogue. Alright, that's it. Time for kitty soccer. Ooh, dog's gonna kill him and they have to put the dog down. You know, a cat can mutilate a bird or a mouse and that's all. It's cats being cats. A dog even looks at you funny and you gotta shoot it. At least that's how I was raised. Yes, riveting stuff. Originally, I wanted to read out full scripts to films so that people in their vehicles, they have this beautiful audio version of these classic films such as Battlefield Earth, some of Travolta's best work. Who can forget the reboot of Doolittle or any one of Steven Seagal's films? Of course, I discovered while recording it is a long, arduous, and not very entertaining process. I don't know if anyone would dare listen for more than, 30 seconds of Gabagool Theater. I did approximately 3/4 of the film Home Alone 2 Lost in San Francisco, and I damn near wanted to blow my brains out. Not only that, I think there's also a serious issue of legal copyright concerns and litigation had I done this. Of course, there was the Gabagool Fundraiser for sick children. The goal was to raise $250,000. We can only make a measly $85,000, so halfway through it, I said, screw this, I'll just pocket the difference. Figured, what's the point? I went and bought a timeshare. My 4 foster children, maybe I could be more involved. Maybe I could, verbally and emotionally communicate with them from time to time. But it's constant annoying, like, oh, I'm hungry, I'm tired, those cigarettes burn. You know what? Is it my failure or is it theirs? I think if they were better looking kids, maybe I would have, loved them a bit more. But here we are. Now, although this didn't occur in 2020, a certain failure of mine, I can only describe it in these 3 words. C'est qui toi? Allow me to recount this tale of heroism and shame. Now, basically, if you don't speak French, the language of love, the language of fucking, c'est qui toi is the French equivalent of saying, who the fuck are you? I was at a wrestling event. I was a protagonist. I was the good guy. I should have been cheered and adored as I ordinarily am. Instead, I was met with very little to no crowd response. So I'm working desperately to change that, only to have a lady in her late 50s stand up and yell as loud as she can for everyone to hear, including my opponents, "C'est qui toi?" It's a moment I have yet to live down. So who better to have as an expert panel member for the final episode of 2020 of Gabagool 8 than mine own mother? So, Mom, Deborah, lady who runs that bodega, whatever you want to call yourself, I want to welcome you to the show. Yes, hello, Mom. I love you so much. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and thank you for letting me live in your basement into my mid-30s.
Yeah, great to be here. I can think of one big failure. He has a weekly podcast.
Whoa.
New episodes every Wednesday. Wes, you have too many failures to list. How's about your biggest success? Surviving the hangar.
Oh, I didn't see that coming. I believe there was a technical difficulty. Something scrambled the audio clips there. Certainly that's not what she meant. This has been a very tough year. Well, after that horribly depressing realization of my status in my own family, and yes, I've been saying mine own as opposed to my own, I like to think that it makes me more smarterer. So what is an episode of Gabagool and 8 without good bad? A good! I am like a poor man's MacGyver. If you need to solve something quick, if you need to rig something up, jerry-rig something to get it rolling, I'm your man. The bad is, I'm not really a MacGyver, so if ever there was a bomb or something that necessitated an actual emergency response, we'd all be fucked. The good, I am a person built on, well, a deep, never-ending quarry of salt, but also positivity. I keep trying and I don't give up. The bad, that despite that attitude, my win-loss record is dropping hard. Now for one of my personal favorite segments, dumb shit people say who should be smarter. Basically, anytime somebody says, watch this before they try and demonstrate something. Now why? I'm not saying it's not fully entertaining, but typically a drunken injury is what proceeds after this statement. Now I know this is mostly young men, mostly young white men who are inebriated at the time, and I don't know why. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm generalizing. I came up with these statistics based on my multicultural upbringing with the whole, 8 black people that I know. Before we touch onto the upcoming subjects for the first episode of 2021, I want to thank you all for listening to this episode, for listening since June or July I started this. It all began in a fever dream in January, and I think it only came into realization a little bit later into the summer. I could check it, but that's just not how I roll. Thank you all for your continued support. It is much appreciated. Whether there's 1 listener or 1,000 listeners or 100,000 listeners, I do it because I love it. I do it because of you. And honestly, if I only have 1 listener, I'm quitting. It's really not worth my time. So upcoming for 2021, I list my extensive and immense successes. And we are also going to have a special episode dedicated to my romantic history and my way with women. Because if there's one thing I'm good at. God damn it, Julie, how could you? Oh, fuck. So listen, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in 2021. This is Wes Dawson for Gabagool and 8.